Alright, now watch this. This is going to be something a little different to start off with. This is my editing program. And this right here, this blue line, is the video that I took off of my other YouTube channel to use as a backdrop. Now, when I left these cameras in these spots, I was actually more trying to experiment on doing kind of cool time-lapse stuff. Because I do love to video, photograph, and edit shit and make cool stuff, as well as sharing truth, right? But that's what initially got me to where I am. But anyway, no babbling. Had a few people email me that they can hear wood knocks and stuff in the background. I'm like, what? No way. And I can't believe I've never actually looked into these videos I've left. So this is what I'm going to do. And this will be easy to see if there's sounds during this, whatever it is. It's an hour and 20-minute video. So what you do is you take the audio out, right? And you see if maybe there's any lines in there. Oh, they're not showing up right here. I wonder why. Oh, here we go. No? Alright, now I can somewhat sort of see, maybe. No, I couldn't see it in here. Alright, let's go back. Put the audio back in there because I swear I could see where there's sound showing up in the clip. But not now. What the hell's up with that? Okay, here they come. They're showing up again, right? And no, I can't blow this area up. I can make the screen full screen, but I can't blow this up. But I can see there's two sounds right here. There's a sharp one right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 there, spaced out evenly. There's another sound there. And way over here, there's one here. And we're talking like, this is what? This is at 1 hour and 13 minutes, there's a sound. 1 hour and 3 minutes, there's a sound. 54 minutes and 54 seconds, there's a sharp sound. So it's not a repetitive sound from the river, right? Now the audio is going to suck because it's laptop speakers, but I'll crank up the laptop speaker. And then I'll go into the audio here and I'll crank up the video audio, crank it up there. So that green line is just the audio level as I'm manipulating the audio, right? See that? Now I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a sharp line right here. So let's listen to it and see what it is. Crazy. What was that? Okay, see, when I left the camera, I left the cameras for like a few hours, but I left. I mean, I drove miles away and left to go do shit with my day. And took the gamble of nobody finding the camera. So I'm like, I think I'm at home. This is going on. Now listen, let's do it again. Whoa. Crazy, huh? This is the first time I've ever done this. I don't know why I've never even looked into just looking at the audio map before. So let's look. Oh, there it goes again. Let's keep listening. Oh, there it goes again. What the hell's going on? Alright, now I can see other bumps here. There's one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. One back here, one back here, one back here. Let's go back and try some other ones too. See if there's any consistency to that sound. Try these. There's two right here. If you see where I'm looking on the dark line. That is the audio in the video. Okay. Each little tap is a sound. So let's see what these are. don't know. It almost sounds like little rocks getting thrown, but I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird, subtle sound. Let's try this bump back here, see what this sound is. Weird. It's not water. It's too random. Like it's not water dripping, you know what I mean? Let's try this sharp one way down here at the end. Right about there, I'll try it. That's a vehicle driving over the Logan Road Bridge. Alright, well, that's easy to figure that out. What else? There's one down here. Let's listen to this. Weird. I don't get it unless there's some kind of animal. I don't know. I think if there was pebbles being thrown, they'd probably be hitting the camera, right? But I don't know. Who knows? Sometimes it almost sounds like you hear it squish in the river. See, it sounds like it's hitting something and rebounding, right? Try again. Hear that in the water right there? That's a substantial little whack right there, isn't it? Weird. Now I think, actually, if I take the audio out, and then, there we go. I wonder if that'll show up. No, that's not showing me the sound. So obviously I'm not the wizard, right? Like some of these people on, oh, there it is. Substantial little smack, isn't it? But well, lots of people are going to think it's a Sasquatch. But you know what? What would an intelligent being? I don't think an intelligent being would be hiding fairly close without cover. I mean, that's underneath the bridge, Logging Road Bridge. What kind of an intelligent being would spend almost an hour randomly throwing pebbles? You know what I mean? I do not think that's what these sounds are myself. But it's interesting to go back. Now I'm going to have to go back on the other videos that I've done this way and just extract the audio and look for the sounds. Because you don't have to listen to the whole thing. You look for it, right? Like bonk, bonk right there, bonk right there, bonk right there. You can see where the noise is in the videos. I'm going to have to do that. That would be cool. Coming up with something real crazy. Anyway, there you go, you guys. I had a handful of people email me in saying something's breaking, something's splitting wood, something's breaking limbs, whacking trees. So people did hear something. What was it? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to check out the audio on the other clips that I have too later on. But I'm going to get into sharing some voices now. So that was kind of interesting. Who knows? Maybe we'll get something real cool one day. Maybe I should do this more often, right? Use a high def camera and leave it running with a big battery and a big 128 gig card and let it rip. Anyway, let's get on to hearing some voices. Alright, so the first email is going to start to read is titled Follow Up and More to My Story from Oklahoma. And it says, Oklahoma dude here again. My wife felt I needed to explain a few things from my previous story to you, even though you have not gotten to it yet. First clearing up some of the things from my other stories. Alright, so unfortunately, when I saved this, it's all it says is from, and then Oklahoma dude at the end, and there's no email on this in my notes. So I tried to search the word Chass in my inboxes, no luck. Alright, you guys, that's unfortunate. So I'll start this again. I'm going to read this anyway, and for the original emailer, just so you know, that's what's going down, alright? So let's hear what we got. I never felt fear in my encounters. Curiosity, yes, but fear, no. Even when it, unseen, got in the middle of all of us, and I screamed. I was never afraid. The elder said it was because you are small like a child, and they want to protect you. As I explained, I am a dwarf and look young. The one that got in the middle of all of us while we were hunting, none of us saw him/her, even though we were using spotlights to try and do so. The one I whistled at to get a better look at, when he turned to look at where the whistle came from, he turned his whole upper body like he had no neck. Both those encounters, everything was silent. The tribal elder had told me that he bet the big guy knew I was there and where and just didn't care. Now about the elder of the tribe telling me about them. He said, the red ones travel like the tribes did of the old. I know you don't follow the idea of them migrating. He assured me they follow the mountains back and forth, but only the red ones. He said the brown ones and the black ones are always here and never leave and love to cause mischief and tease people. Now, as to why I remain anonymous, I made a promise to my dad, and I take promises very serious. He made me promise not to tell my name when relating the story, but he didn't mind telling me the where. My wife and I are pagan by belief, and we are always walking in the woods picking up things people would find odd. We love finding feathers and consider them gifts from the woods. Well, I moved into my mother and father's house on the mountain, and we continue looking and walking in the woods. All we've been finding, feathers left on our front porch. This is a recent thing. Well, 2 days ago we found several feathers from different birds in a pile near the door. My wife said I needed to tell you this as we both listen to your YouTube channel. I've been reaching out to them and trying to make contact. No, I'm not scared and would really love to talk to one. I had a very vivid dream, and I mean very vivid. I heard something like a dog lapping up water behind me, and a voice asked, "Are you not scared of me, little one?" I responded, "No, I'm not scared for me, but my dog, my wife, and my mother, yes." And that's where the dream ended, and we often smell this wet dog smell at nights now. Not like the smell with the one that screamed at us, just a wet dog scent. The dream may just be a dream, but I do not feel it is. Be careful out there, Oklahoma dude. All right, man. Thanks for that. And please email me back again, all right? Or just email me. Yeah, email me back again because I can't find your other emails. Damn it. And I want to find them, okay? Email me back. All right, now I stand corrected. So I did a search in my red emails, and I found an email from you, and it says red, and I actually saved it. It says that I read it October 28th, 2021. So that's where you're going to find the original email, all right? Read online. I'd imagine it's going to be October 28th, 2021, or on the 29th. I wonder if I should read this again anyway. I guess I probably could, couldn't I? All right, I'm going to read it again. All right? All right, here we go. Bigfoot experience in Oklahoma. Apologies, I sent this to the wrong email address.
Hi, please keep my name out of this, but feel free to discuss state, county, and nearest town. The reason I want to remain nameless is I promised my dad before we passed that if I tell people of the stories, I would keep our names out of it. I shared this story with another who told the stories, but the more we can get to hear our stories, the better. No? Just call me Oklahoma Dude, please. I live near a small town named Wilburton. It is in the tail end of the Ozark mountain range. Well outside of Wilburton is a huge state park and wildlife area, and we all hunt there. I always noticed my dad would do some odd things, like every few years he would go elsewhere to hunt, not in our mountain range. He would never tell us why. He would just pick us a place to go that was not near the property on the mountain. Well, we all went hunting one year, and we made it to our tree stands well before dawn for deer hunting. Well, every day I had a pair of gray squirrels that would come play with me in the tree every day. They would hang around and even eat lunch with me. I always packed some snacks. Well, one day, it was slightly foggy and really dark. Well, there were 6 of us, not far from each other. My dad was in a tree stand not 50 feet from mine, slightly to the left and forward, and my brother was 50 or so feet to my right. All of us on well-traveled deer paths. We have never had a problem getting our deer for each season. Now, before I continue, let me explain. We were all adults. 2 of us were military, and all of us knew damn well what was what in the deep woods here. About 30 minutes until dawn started. The squirrels I was playing with hunkered down on the branch we were on and stiffened out. I'd never seen this behavior from squirrels before. I was talking to him and petting him, and nothing would make him move. No way, that's crazy. Then I noticed everything had gone quiet. The bobwhites had stopped calling, as had all the other small birds. Everything had stopped moving and was deathly still. Then the smell hit us. It was like rotten eggs, garbage, and a skunk all mixed together. It could only make one's eyes water from the smell. Then the chatter on the radios went wild. My brother said, "Something big just came through and I couldn't see it." I still cannot see it. "Little man is headed your way." Little man is my brother's nickname for me, as I have a type of dwarfism, but I reach 5 foot tall. The tallest end of the scale to be a dwarf. Well, I heard it, and we all know skunks, badgers, and squirrels can make one hell of a racket in the dead leaves and brush, so I was only thinking it was one of these, and from the smell, I was betting a badger. My dad called, "Kiddo, are you okay over there?" Well, I was looking around without moving much, so maybe I could see what was going on. Then a tree between my dad and me snapped off at the ground and fell. This tree was as big around as my thigh, and it was a pine tree. It takes something big, and I mean really big, to snap one of those. Then the screaming started. I've never heard anything like it, and I've heard mountain lions and more. This screaming felt so unnatural that it has instantly invoked fear. So my brother, who served overseas during wartime, panicked, climbed down from the tree stand, and raced to the house on his four-wheeler. He later told us he realized he was safer in the stand, but he couldn't think rationally after it screamed. He swore it kicked in his fight or flight mode and he ran. Well, it was screaming. Well, while it was screaming, we all knew it was between me and my dad, which means he was about 20 feet in front of me. And for the life of me, I could see nothing that broke the tree, nor what was screaming and shaking other trees. I called to my dad. "Poop deck, what the hell is that thing?" He asked. "Can you see it?" I replied, "No, sir." He said, "Stop looking for it, stay in your stand. It'll leave once it gets good light and we can go back. There's no hunting with them in the woods." Let me read that again, that was all in a quote. He said, quote, "Stop looking for it, stay in your stand. It will leave once it gets good light and we can go back. There's no hunting with them in the woods," end quote. I kept asking him, them who, but he wouldn't answer me. Once it was good daylight and we could see, he came and got me, and we left back to the house. We all gathered once we had returned, and he said, "I'm not going to tell you that we just had a visit from a Bigfoot, but I'm also not going to tell you we didn't. Make up your own damn minds what we saw and keep it to yourselves. If you tell people we were scared out of the woods by a Bigfoot, they'll think we're all nuts." This is my first experience with one. I know I never did get to see it, but we did go back and look at the tree. we thought was broken near the ground. In reality, it was pulled out of the ground and leaned over. It was actually put across our path we used on the four-wheelers to get to our feeders. My dad later told me, quote, "Son, they come through here every 5 to 7 years. When they do, we cannot hunt as they are dangerous and run all the game off for long range," end quote. My father was a special kind of man. He would walk you through the woods and all but call the game up to him to show you the woods and their bounty. He once told me he had snuck up on one and watched it eat cattail roots. He said they were ripping them from the ground and biting off the heads. My second run-in with the hairy man, it was a nice fall month. As I was squirrel hunting, well, I found this perfect place to hide and shoot them. I crawled feet first down inside an old hollow log. It was propped up on a boulder. See, in our area of Oklahoma, everything is trees, mountains, and rocks. Latimer County is quite gorgeous. I was pretty close to my limit on squirrels, and I was hidden, waiting for them to come out. When I heard this loud rustling sound, I turned to watch. It was a large, hairy animal with red-colored hair. I knew what it was. He was ducking under branches and following a deer path. Well, I am a smart aleck. When he was almost out of my direct line of sight, I whistled. Well, he turned, and I got a pretty good look at his face. And it was not what I had imagined. His eyes were small for his face. His forehead sloped and peaked. What it brought to mind was the head style of what we call Neanderthal in appearance. I saw no ears but a large flat nose. He was flaring his nostrils and standing perfectly still. I held as still as possible, not wanting to scare him off and miss a chance of looking him over. This was in the mid-90s when no one had easy carry cameras, so all I could do was watch. As I was getting my good look, he and I both heard my dad's four-wheeler coming. He broke into a run that caused me to lose sight of him quickly. When my father arrived, I explained that what I had saw and which way he went. He shook his head and asked, quote, "You said red hair, right?" End quote. I nodded, so he flatly replied, quote, "Well, we won't be hunting up here anymore this year," end quote. We went back and made squirrel dumplings and started talking of where we're going to go hunting this year. One of the things I need to mention is I'm half Native American from the Choctaw tribe. I went to one of the tribal elders who was a good friend. He sat me down and we talked. He called them by a name, and no, I can't remember what he called them. He explained that there are different types of elders of the woods. The red ones are warlike and cannibalistic. They call them elder brothers of the mountain, or red-headed cannibals of the mountain. While the black ones are more friendly and helpful and watch over the forest. We call the black ones elder brothers of the woods. He explained the black ones are here all the time, but the red ones are migratory and travel like the tribes did in the days of old. He explained the black ones and the red ones hate each other, and the red ones are much bigger and more aggressive than the others. When the red ones are in the woods, hunting is scarce and we will not venture far from home. My friend died not long after this, as he was ancient. He was overtending and watching a native burial ground. I'll never forget my run-ins with the Bigfoot, but this is my one and only sighting of a red one. My friend bet that the one who pulled the tree up when we were hunting and none of us saw was a red one. He knew there was many of us and he wouldn't attack. He says they're all smart, much smarter than we give them credit for. I asked how he knew and he chuckled, quote, "Little one, if they were not, would white man not have one for evidence by now?" End quote. The elder of the tribe thought that Bigfoot liked me as I was small, like a child to them. I would be a child. He said they would come to and help a child. Well, except for the red ones. I was thin and very short, and as I told you, I'm a dwarf. I have a type of dwarfism called achondroplasia. It is the most common type. A side note, they will be coming through this year, as several members of our family have already had sightings. I once sent my information and details when they should come through again, once long ago to the BF blah blah, but they never responded to me. Weird. It always amazes me when people say they contacted them and never hear anything back. For your own information and contact. Okay, man, appreciate it. And I do remember reading that one. Well, that's quite the experience, man. It's a chunk of experience to chuck out there for people to sponge up, right? And then, you mentioned the other email, the later one, about me not being on board with the migration thing. No, I'm not on board with an actual migration as in they're following game trails across the states and provinces or whatever. I don't think they are here full time, where we are. Not meaning on the planet, meaning this plane, whatever it is, this vibration rate that we exist on. That's what I'm absolutely convinced of that myself. Teach their own, it's my ride, my puzzle. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there who have had, rural properties for literally 3 or 4 generations and non-stop hunting their property or farming it or ranching it, and all of a sudden, boom, they run into one of these beings. And how many times we heard of the look on the face of the being as in them being in shock. And another thing too is I like to refer to is the one with the woman. I forget where they were. I know they're listening. And they saw the son said there's a man on a horse out back or something. And she looked out back, which is their property, rural, in the bottom of the valley, and there's other properties fairly close by, right? And she saw this thing ducking, trying to make it from cover to cover, running. And then it went by a pump house roof, and that's how she gauged its height, and the thing was freaking huge. And like I said earlier, you don't get caught in the middle of human neighborhood in broad daylight if you're that intelligent and then act like you're shitting yourself trying to get out of there. How did you do that? There's no way, because first off, to get there, you would have to come over the height of land to get into that valley, or up the valley from the bottom where there's roads, power lines, and homes and driveways, right? Humans are the easiest beings ever to avoid. Easy. You're coming up over I've said this before. What I'm getting at is that story for me is a real good reference to deliver what I feel is how these things show up, right? They just show up where we are, who or what controls it. I'm not absolutely certain myself, but there's just too many clues for me that proves for me that these beings they're popping up from somewhere else. That makes sense to me at this stage of the game. So when I hear, and I respect everybody's experiences, I mean, maybe there is some beings out there that do migrate. Like they got to walk on their feet and follow a game trail and migrate up and over a pass. Maybe they do. I don't know. But for me at this stage of the game, there's just too much evidence that shows me that they're showing up from somewhere, right? But anyway, thanks for sending that, man. If you did send more and I missed them, send them again. All right. It sounds like you've missed a couple of them, me reading them. So send them again. But absolutely appreciate you sharing that and have a lot of respect for your dad. Sounds like he sounded like a very intelligent man, and good for him on keeping his shit together when it comes to the reality of these beings. And yeah, very, very interesting. But make sure you email us again with more knowledge that you have today, and let us know how your ride's going and how your puzzle's filling up. And if you would share it with all of us, I'd be curious as well as everybody else to hear it. Okay, man? All right, what's this one? Short one titled Government Knowledge. Dear Steve, I have a quick question for you and all your listeners. What do you think would happen if the government told the public about these beings? Thanks for your time, John Lethbridge. What do I think? That's a tough one. I'm probably not the right guy to ask that question. For me, at this stage of the game, for me and the information that I've sought out and found out for myself, there's some far, far more larger impact items that the government does not want to tell us that absolutely would have way more significant impact on the population than this topic. That is for sure. Absolutely mind-boggling for sure. So what do I think would happen? I don't know. I mean, we can look at how the population reacts to numerous other things. I mean, the government, who I have absolute zero respect for, well, they've let everybody know that UFOs are real, people. Oh, thank you. You know what I mean? What are people doing now? They're still going outside, they're still going camping, they're still going on their boats, they're still flying, even though they know there's unidentified flying weird craft in the sky. They're still piling into jets, and everybody's just carrying on, right? It's today, I see it's very hard to get a human being to quit their pattern. That's quite their pattern of thinking, their pattern of reaction, their pattern of living, right? It's very hard to do that. Not that many people can change shit up. So, what do I think would happen if the government told the public? I don't think too much. Maybe people would stay triple up on their masks. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll go and buy shit piles of toilet paper. I really don't know myself. I don't know. I think a handful of people would probably go start looking for them a little more often. But I don't think too much would happen myself. All right, this next one's titled Steve, caps lock, please read. Sasquatch in a very old early pre to post Columbus map / drawing. All right, let me scroll up here. Steve, hello, I hope this letter finds you well. The other day I was logged on to an online auction site and I was bidding on some very old books and manuscripts from the early 1650s to the early 1800s, diaries, maps, old Jesuit priest writings, etc. I'm doing some personal research on Native American population counts in the North and South America pre-Columbus, as well as research on vegetation and food sources that were pre-Columbus. But it is so interesting. If I told you how many people inhabited both continents, North and South America, from tip to tip pre-Columbus, you probably wouldn't believe me, because there is really no evidence that they were ever here after the first 100 years or so after first contact. Anyway, I'm bidding on some things, and all of a sudden I see these sketch drawings that were published by a German printer / publisher. It's one of those days for me. His name is Johann Ludwig Gottfried, who was a German publisher who had received paintings and records from both the French and English expeditions to settle colonies in America in the mid to late 16th century. The illustrations from the expeditions were Jacques Lemoyne's Demargues, and John White. These images, sketches, drawings, and writings were transferred to copper plates from which Gottfried constructed the most comprehensive visual accounts of the Americas still until this day. He also included illustrations from other European artists based on textual descriptions, thus the images of mermaids or dragons that you see depicted on old maps of the day. Gottfried handled all of the editing and translation as well. So, here I am bidding and all of a sudden, a new lot comes up for bid and it's pages from a first edition of this collection. There are about 8 different pages with black and white illustrations on them. They were of natives meeting the explorers, drawings of what they were wearing, etc., etc., but then I see this drawing. This description is written in German, but here it is, Steve, and look who is right in the middle of the damn drawing. Why would they draw such a thing? I mean, honestly, I'd like to show this to anyone and have them come up with why in the year 1620 was someone dressed up in a monkey suit. My point being, if someone wants proof, here's their proof. Documented, published, historical record, plain as day. How can anyone dispute this? What would the argument be? That these artists and cartographers were somehow looking at a bear and mistakenly drew this? Bullshit. Steve, I was by myself in my office when this came up, and I actually stood up and started clapping and screaming out loud to no one. Oops, lost the page here. To no one, and pacing around in circles with my hands on my head for about 5 minutes. So here he or she is in all of his or her frickin' glory. Sasquatch circa the year of our Lord 1560. There you go. Right? There you go. There it is back then, and here it is here today, all around us. Nothing's changed, has it? Crazy, isn't it? That's a crazy discovery, man. Good for you. What a crazy thing to be into. I don't even know, how would those items even come up for bid? That's crazy. You'd think a museum would have a hold of that shit. But anyway, absolutely appreciate that sleuthing and sharing with all the people. I'm sure they all appreciate it too. Good work, man. All right, here comes another one. I'm going to probably cut this short because I got to pack and then find some food, and then I'm starting my journey home. So I'm going to fly from here an hour, and then I've got an hour in another big airport, and then I think I fly 6 or 7 hours or something to Tokyo, and then I have to hang out in Tokyo airport for 10 hours. What the F is up with that? But anyway, so this is titled East Texas Bigfoot. Hello Steve, how you doing? This is Ray from Texas. I went back to visit my friend this past weekend in East Texas to see how things were with the Bigfoot that has been bothering her property. And now there has been a big piss. They found out there was more than one Bigfoot family. So now the problem has multiplied. They have reached out to neighbors who are also having this problem, and they're not getting no help from the police or any kind of state agency. You know, the Bigfoot are slapping the house, breaking the gates and fences. They're breaking into the garage and shed. My friend is making a video of all the Bigfoot encounters. She's going to show it to me before she shows the video to anyone. And she wants me to pass it to you also. This has a clear, perfect picture of these creatures. I'll get it to you ASAP. So hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be able to get that to you with a film. I think you're going to find it very interesting. I had a setting, not in the woods, but out in the yard, and bright daylight. I was going to steal some chickens. Yeah, I could have taken a shot, but no, it kind of looked at me with a grin. And with a giant pair of leaps, it reached to the wood line. That SOB turned around to me and nodded to me as it went back into the woods. And I got the feeling that he probably figured I'll be back anyway. This is what will be going on here in East Texas, and hopefully you're doing good and everything is cool with you, and thank you for sharing my story. Thanks, bye. And P.S., you're next to John Wayne and Clint Eastwood in our books. Keep up the good work. Trump 2024. Okay, man. You realize the impact you're going to have on all of the people here, right? That's quite the experience and quite the statement to make too, saying that you've got this clear on film and they're going to hand it over. We've heard this a handful of times in the past too, right? But I believe you, man, and I believe you got a lot of grief. And like I said before, you know, Scott Carpenter, he's got some good recipes to help people with rural people who are having grief. So you may want to reference to Scott and see if you can figure something out. But yeah, it's nothing I want going on in my backyard, although the shit goes on just outside my backyard, sometimes in my backyard. I'm looking forward to it. We're all looking forward to it. Big time. You should give us if you've seen that picture already, you should tell us, email me back again right away and give us a detailed description of what you're looking at in the photo. If you can't get the picture itself to us soon. Very interesting, man. I'm waiting. I'm anticipating. A lot of people are going to be sitting there on the edge of their seats waiting too, now you've made this announcement, right? Now, so I would caution, if this is fact, this photo footage is real, I would strongly suggest, before you do anything, to make copies. Make copies, and by some strange, weird, random occurrence, if somebody tried to get a hold of you or the other people and intimidate you to being scared, well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I haven't had anybody try to do that to me, but I will encourage you to tell them to ram it up their ass, and don't be scared of anyone or anything. All right? But definitely make copies, and definitely share them after you've made copies, and don't keep all the copies at home. All right? All right. Thanks for that email, man. Now, I don't know. Maybe there's another one here. I think I could just squeeze in one more. It's tough to stop, right? Oh, look at that. Here's a real short one. All right, Mark, this is red. Who do we got? This is titled Strange Beings. Hello, Steve. I watched the video with the pictures of the strange beings with the military men. Those are the beings I saw and spoke with when I was 5 years old. We were living in Germany at the time. I'm 63 years old now, but when I saw those pictures, I know that I didn't dream about them all those years ago. I never was frightened by them. I can't explain why they chose to speak with me, but I do remember it like was yesterday. Anita McClellan. All right, Anita, appreciate you. You must have emailed previous. Okay. Emails, if you haven't emailed us previous, email us again. Or email us, sorry, if you haven't emailed previous with your experience, email me, all right? Share with us. I want to hear about it. And I'm sorry if I don't remember your previous email. Obviously, I have read thousands, right? But I'll do a little search here and see if I can come up with an email you may have shared in the past. Thanks for that email. Appreciate it. All right, so that's it for now. By the time you guys hear this, I would imagine, I'm guessing, if I get this loaded in time before I got to leave, I would imagine I might be within eyesight of North America in the plane maybe, or I'm in the Vancouver International Airport, freeze my ass off because I left my winter clothes in Sarah's car. So all I got is a pair of shorts and flip-flops and t-shirts to wear home. Then I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to get back to home from Vancouver. But I'll get there, and then we're really going to amp this shit up. Anyway, be safe out there, you guys. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Get it off your chest, or you get it shared with the people somehow.